experience, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that using the mouse is way slower than using the keyboard. And I don't presume to be the fastest keyboardist in the world, but today I'm going to try to show you that that using the keyboard shortcuts that are in your tools is a huge asset to your ability to move quickly. We don't ever want our practices to be an excuse for going slower. We want to be fast in all the things that we can be fast in so that we can slow down appropriately in the times when it's appropriate to slow down. So take a look at here at my IDE, and I'm going to try to write a few lines of code, or maybe a test, a class, and try to avoid using my mouse at all. So now I'll just use the keyboard shortcuts that I have memorized, and if I have to use the mouse, I'll tell you. You may be able to see the cursor on the screen there. There it goes right there. I don't know if you can see that, but if I use the mouse, I'll try to remember to tell you that I'm using the mouse. So I'm just going to use a live template here when user input is empty. It would help if I spelled things right. It should return a 0. Okay, it will get faster here in just a second. So a lot of this is because my keyboarding skills are not awesome, but I'm basically trying to navigate through all of this without having to use the mouse, and doing okay with it so far. So there, I just reached for the mouse. I'm gonna stop reaching for it. So now I want to run this test, which is Control-UR, and yeah, see that it is failing for the right reasons. If I go down to the test, then I can see the reason for it. Great, and so then I'm just going to go in here and F12, and I'm going to turn this into a 0, and then I can rerun the test. Rerunning that test, and I can see that it's passing now. So then I can go back over here and write another test. So when user input is one number, it should return that number. We have a calculator, and we're going to do a 2. Just navigating through, and what's nice about this is that that I haven't really needed to reach over and use the mouse yet, and I'm moving pretty quickly, right? Do you move this quickly when you're coding? If you use the mouse, I don't know. I would challenge you to be able to move this quickly, even with my bad typing skills. So if string is null or empty, and this is user input, then we'll return this. If not, we'll return 2. And this should be passing. So I'm just using keyboard shortcuts. Now, this time I'm going to slow down a little bit and try to tell you which keyboard shortcuts I'm actually using. You can also just Google Writer. If you're using VS Code, sometimes you can look up the keyboard shortcuts for VS Code, for Writer, for WebStorm, for Visual Studio, whatever you're using. They all have keyboard shortcuts. And especially if you have ReSharper installed in a .NET project, you've got ReSharper's keyboard shortcuts, which are invaluable. They're amazing and then wonderful. So let's go back. So in order to open and close the testing panel, I'm doing Alt-8. So I'm going to write another test and see if we can. I'll slow down just a little bit. So I already did a video about the live templates. That's what that was right there. And now I'm just going to type in when adding 2 numbers. I'm going to press tab to go down to the next. This is the template mode that's part of the live template. So this is not the keyboard shortcuts necessarily. It's just I'm tabbing through. So it should return the sum of those two numbers. I pressed tab, and I'm going to use my calculator. Now I'm going to press escape to get out of template mode. Then I'm going to press home to go to the beginning of the line, alt enter together to use the resharper shortcut. I'm going to create a field, tab to get out of template mode, alt page up, page up, page up. While I'm pressing the alt key, and that gets me to the next alt page up and alt page down helps you navigate to the next issue, the next problem. And since these are not, like, action doesn't even exist on the calculator, so then I'm going to do shift control right, and that selects this word. So now I can type in add, and I'm back to where I started. I can type in 1,3. Now I can do alt page up again, and that's going to give me back to the beginning of the line, but to the issue at the beginning of the line, which is a field that hasn't been instantiated yet. So I'm going to do alt enter again, create the field, tab to get out of template mode, alt page up again to get me to the next issue, which is this something. Shift control right so that it selects the word, and then I'll just type in 4. Control S, Control Shift B to build. I'm a compulsive builder. Control U and then R. That's a chord. That's called a chord, where you type Control a letter and then you lift your hands and then you type another letter. That's called a chord. And so it ran the test for me. So if I want to go down to the test panel, I can press Alt 8 and then use my arrows to arrow around, and I can open this by doing left and right, and then get into this one, which is the observation, and see that the expected result should be 4, but it found 2. Okay, great. So then I'll do Alt 8 again and go back to my code, and I'm going to do Control left, and get over to my add function, F12 on my keyboard to go into the add function. And now I can change this instead of just a hard-coded 2. Well, let's see. I'm going to user input dot split on the comma, alt enter, introduce variable. Alt enter is very useful, by the way. So I'm going to say, I'll rename this to numbers. Escape to get out of template mode. I'm going to go to the end of the line and actually parse these as integers. Then I can, if the numbers is the count or the length, count is greater than 1. Now here I'll do equals 1. All right, that way it covers that previous case. Then I can just say I'm going to return numbers dot first plus numbers dot last. Rebuild. Control R Y to run all the tests. That's another chord. Control R and then Y. And that dumps your cursor into the test panel also, and so that we can see here that all of my tests are now passing. So I can go, I can do Alt 8 again. It puts me back in my code. This is one of my favorites. Listen closely to this one. Writer and Visual Studio, they both do this. They remember the history of where your cursor has been, and so you can press Control minus on the keyboard, and it will take you back in time in history. Very useful. Now, if you realize, okay, I went back too far, you can do Control Shift minus, and it'll take you back. It'll take you forward, back to the future. So then I'm going to do Control minus, takes me back to where I was before, and now I can start doing again. I can start it all over again. I can write another test, and I can navigate super easily, and looks like so far, except for my instinctively trying to go back to the mouse for something, actually didn't need to. And once you get really good at these keyboard shortcuts, remembering them, then you're going to be super fast, super lightning fast. Can't wait to see you.